Hello, 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 everyone. How are you? I am back in the fold. If you missed me, I am here. It's your girl, Saran. Tonight, we're going to talk a little bit about putting the life back in life insurance. Um, I missed a couple of different things, but this month, September, is Life Insurance Awareness Month, and I wanted to be sure to get this information in to you before we run out of days in September. Hey, Relevant TV, happy Monday to you too. So I wanted to get this back to you because so many people think that it's just for when we die. So I'm going to get right into it. But before we start, and I forgot to do this last week because I was traveling, I was all over the place. But we are going to do our money affirmation. Who's ready for the money affirmation? This week's money affirmation is money constantly flows into my life. Say it with me 3 times. Money constantly flows into my life. Money constantly flows into my life. And I want to make sure that I put those positive affirmations out to you because many people come and they listen to this and they listen to the replay and you have money challenges. Maybe you're worried, but I want you to get into an abundant mindset about money and start really receiving that money flows constantly into my life. And you can say your life, you'll say mine on your end. But here's the deal. I'm only got 3 points tonight, and I really want to make sure that you have this information because I see so much information that's confusing, conflicting. People don't understand it. They're not sure what to do, what to think, how to move, etc. I can't tell you how many times I get messages about it. So the first thing we're going to talk about tonight is how life insurance works. What is it anyway, right? It's super basic. It's basically a contract between you and an insurance company to in exchange for a premium that you pay for a death benefit or a living benefit. And so they are going to have a contract with you. Now, it gets a little catchy because one of the things, hey, Crystal, I see you. Yes, money flows constantly into my life. One of the things that we mess up when we get, hey, H, welcome, welcome, welcome. You left me a voicemail, but I'm on live. So one of the things that we get confused with life insurance, especially when people are going through what they call the underwriting process or the approval process, is they think, well, this life insurance company should just give it to me. Well, think about it like it was your money. If you were signing a contract with someone that you don't know from anywhere, and you were going to give them, let's use a number, you were going to give them $250,000 if anything happened to them in exchange for a premium, and I'm just going to make up a number of $150 a month. That by no means is what it costs. It's just an example. For $150 a month, wouldn't you want to know everything about them? Wouldn't you want to know about their health? Hey, Jackie, wouldn't you want to know about their health? Wouldn't you want to know about their finance, a little bit about their finances? Wouldn't you want to know about their lifestyle a little bit? Because are you going to give away $250,000 to someone you know who avidly jumps off mountains on a regular basis? Probably not. And neither is the insurance company. Are you going to give it to someone who swims with wild sharks in the ocean? Probably not, because you want to protect your investment. So it's one of those contracts where the insurance company is the one who's taking on the risk, right? Because the skin in the game you have is the monthly cost. That's the basics of it. It really is just a contract between you and the insurance company, right? In exchange for a premium, and you get a death benefit. That's oversimplifying it, right? You can Google that and you'll get that answer, right? The second thing I want to talk to you about is the different types of life insurance. And again, I'm going to oversimplify it because I want to bring it down a bit because I see so much messaging, and I'm probably guilty because I probably put some out there too, but there's a little more complicated than it probably should be. But there's really only 2 basic types of life insurance. One is what we call term, or when you rent it, or you like renting an apartment. And the other is called permanent, where you own it. I don't care what marketing name you hear. That's really the basics of it, right? You can hear term can be called a bunch of different things. It can be called return of premium, mortgage protection, it can just be called so many different things. But the differences are what matter. And The important part is that you need to talk to a professional, a licensed life insurance agent, because they're the only ones who can talk to you about it and educate you about it. Is talk to them about which one may work best for you. And in some cases, you might need both. That's a gem right there. Everything isn't for everybody. So let me explain to you what term is. Term is where you rent it. It's just like when you get that first apartment. You needed that first apartment because you wanted to get out of mom and them house, because you wanted to do what you wanted to do. But you couldn't afford to buy a house, so you went and rented one, right? It met your needs temporarily. Depending on where you live, not in the DC area where I live, but it's going to be a little bit lower to rent an apartment than it is to necessarily come out of pocket and buy a house right away. The cost is going to go up because every year you're going to do a renewal or something to that effect. And it's going to be purchased to meet temporary needs. You needed somewhere to live that wasn't at home, and now you have it because you rented an apartment. Or for some people who do long-term renting, which is perfectly okay too, you like to move. You don't want to own because you know that maybe your job is transient and you go different places and different things, or you just like the convenience of living in an apartment. It's a lot less responsibility when it comes to certain things, but you like having the rental. The other thing is, that's right. Don't talk to you. That's right, Millionaire Ladies Mob. Those are my friends too. Don't talk to your neighbor. You got to talk to a licensed professional. And so the other thing that a term policy would do is a term policy, depending on how it's written and with what insurance company, because let's be clear, there are over 1,000 insurance companies licensed in the United States. They're going to have one or all four of these, what we call living benefits. And I'll talk about that in detail. Terminal illness, chronic illness, critical illness, and critical injury. They're going to have that. That's when we really look at the life and life insurance, right? Now, permanent insurance, and you've heard it called whole life. You've heard it called universal life. You've heard it called index universal life. You've heard it called just a bazillion different names that are really marketing concepts, if you will, right? And so, but permanent insurance, again, I'm taking you to the basics. I'm oversimplifying so you can really have a way to make a determination. It's going to cost you a little bit. It's going to cost you a little bit more than a term policy initially. The cost will be level when you get it. But it does have what they call an equity or a cash value component where your money builds up and it has the ability to tap into compound interest. Go back a couple videos and you'll learn more about compound interest and how that works. But it gives you some equity where you can use that cash when you need to. Now, let's be very clear. All cash value is not equal. Every cash value policy does not have the same benefits. There are some that are going to have cash value, but they're going to be low and slow. There are some that are going to have cash value. They're going to be higher and faster. So there's a whole pendulum starting from low all the way to high for those different things. It also will have the living benefits, terminal illness, chronic illness, critical injury. The difference is that a term policy is going to be temporary. It's going to have a start date and an end date, period. A permanent policy is going to have a start date, and the end date is when you have transitioned out of here and you are now in the upper room. This is what I'm saying. You in the upper room, and now the policy is done. Is until you exit, that's how long you have it, right? So those are the two basics, and that is the most basic explanation of it as possible, because I wanted it to be simple and consumable. So you can say, oh, it's that simple. That's the simple part. Now, we're going to go into, I'll tell you a little bit about the living benefits, because that's the life and life insurance. That's the piece that you can use while you're living. The cash value and the living benefits are the two main things that you use while you're living, right? The cash value you can use in any kind of way you want, depending on how it's built up. Emergency funds, education, wealth building, retirement, business investments, commercial real estate, flipping houses, buying land trusts. You can buy anything you want with the cash value as long as you have the cash value available. There's no limitation. I can't even name all the stuff you can do with it because I don't know what you like to spend money on, right? The other thing is, and it really just depends on how much you have. There are people who have hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash value in their policies that they use multiple times and they recycle it. And that's a one of the concepts of being your own bank. And I'm not going to go into detail on that tonight, but come back in a couple of episodes and I'm going to do that. But then there's some folks that have smaller amounts and they're just using it for different things. I know people who have used it as emergency money for when maybe they were unemployed. The cool thing about this cash value that you want to make sure that you need to really understand is that it is not taxable. It doesn't count as income anywhere. Once it goes into a policy, it doesn't count as income against a FAFSA. It doesn't count as income against Social Security. It doesn't count as income against disability. It doesn't count as income towards your income tax. It doesn't count as income, period, right? So that's why that cash value is important if you have it built up and you use it strategically. We'll get into some ways that the rich use it later, but we're going to really just focus on this. The other important thing for us as we go into Breast Cancer Awareness Month next month in October is the living benefits. If a doctor ever tells you you have a terminal illness, where you're going to live, you have less than 20, you have 12 to 24 months to live, right? Then the right type of life insurance policy, depending on how it's designed, is going to give you a lump sum for you to go and live out your bucket list. I call it an effort list, but I'm on live, so I won't use the real word, but you know what I'm talking about, right? But you can take that cash, book you a cruise, a 1-year cruise on one of those cruise lines. I don't know if many of you know, but you could book a cruise for around the world and it takes a year. But you can book that and just be gone. Just tell your family you love them and you're gone. Or you could do like the guy did on the movie The Bucket List and do all these crazy wild things as best you can. Or if maybe you're not in a position to do that, that allows your family to pay for different modifications and things that you need to make you comfortable for the remainder of your time, right? And then there's something called chronic illness. Most of us are more than likely, we may or may not have a chronic illness, right? And so chronic illness is where you cannot do the activities of daily living: bathing, eating, toileting, transferring, and cognitive ability. And that they've added that in most recent years, that cognitive ability is important because that applies to a lot of people who have Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's. I'm saying the word wrong, but you know what I'm talking about. But that's important because that will help you to pay for that. It'll provide monthly money depending on the amount of death benefit you set to help you offset your costs. And there's no limitations like health insurance. And then critical illness, and you're probably more familiar with some of the critical illnesses that sometimes lead to chronic illnesses or become terminal illnesses. But critical illness like heart attack, strokes, cancer, Lou Gehrig's disease, aortic heart valve replacement. There's 16 or so that count. I know that's Carmen saying that. Hey, Carmen. Okay. But there's 16 or so that will apply that you can have money to help you through a difficult time when you're recovering and you're healing through any type of critical illness or a critical injury. A critical injury is something that's out of your control. Maybe you've gotten burns. Maybe there was a fire or something. Unfortunately, you've gotten severe burns, or you've been in a car accident or something to that effect that will cover you. And those are the living benefits. That's the life in the life insurance, right? Because you're still here and you're able to use your life insurance policy to take care of you with these illnesses that are considered that you need help, basically, right? And then the cash value, and I'm going to do a probably more in detail video about that in the future, about the power of the cash value, because that has changed many people's lives, right? And so it's important to have that. Now, the third thing I'm going to talk to you about tonight is why people buy life insurance. The number one reason people buy life insurance is to protect their spouse and their children from having a financial crisis when they are no longer here or they're no longer able to earn income. That's the primary reason. However, your reasons may be different. A lot of people, some of the other reasons that people buy life insurance, and you have to decide what's important to you. And that's the most important thing. When you talk to a professional, you got to know why you're there, right? Some people will say, well, I want to protect my kids. I want to make sure that no one has to pay for my funeral. I want to make sure that I leave enough money for my grandkids. I want to make sure that I use this money to go into a trust to set up a way that I can provide for 5 or 6 generations after I'm not here. I want to use it to build my real estate business because I want to use the cash value as my own bank. I want to be more strategic with my money and I want to get compound interest. I want to set up ways to make sure that I'm never in debt to anyone. Everyone has a different reason for using life insurance. If I haven't named one of your reasons for even thinking about life insurance, go ahead and put it in the chat because those types of things will help other people to trigger and understand me. Oh, maybe I should get some because that's a good reason to have it, right? One of the reasons I even came into this industry because I was trying to figure out a couple things. I was trying to figure out how to retire and pay my student loans off simultaneously, right? And that's a big deal now, right? Because student loans are such a big burden, even with the amount that we've been forgiven, and getting prepared for retirement are a big deal because we live so long as an African American woman. Statistically, I will live to age 89. And then from my family hereditary, based on my family, I know I'm going to make it into my late 80s because they've made it into their 90s. So you have to prepare for retirement much longer. And so that was one of the reasons that brought me here because it allowed me to learn about money and learn me to get to know myself better when it comes to money. And it just allowed so many things, right? So those are the three things. The three things we talked about tonight was how life insurance works, the different types of life insurance, term versus permanent, and we talked about why people buy life insurance. And so just want to make sure you have that. And we talked about how the life goes in. The life is the living benefits and the cash value, which have no limitation for helping you and supporting you while you're still here. So that's all I have. I want to go back to our affirmation for the week. Say it to yourself in the morning 3 times. Money constantly flows into my life. Money constantly flows into my life. Money constantly flows into my life. And when you go into the world, just expect things to come to you and accept the opportunities and walk in it. So I'm so glad you were able to stop by today. Type in the chat if this information was helpful for you. Click like and share on this video so that others can gain the information. Be sure to subscribe because I'm back here every Monday at 8:30, same bat time, same bat channel. And be sure to follow me on my new TikTok. I'm not dancing, by the way, and I'm not singing because I was not gifted with the gift of rhythm and a voice. So you're just gonna get me talking. So that's all you got. But come on over to TikTok with me, and it's Dirty Little Money Secrets. And my picture is there, so you'll be able to find me easily. But I'd love for you to come there. And also, if you are trying to find your why, go and download my vision and manifestation journal at saranbaker.co. It's yours for free. I also listed it in the comments, but it has something for you for 5-6 different areas of your life to help you get on track and get to where you want to go with your finances. So that's all I have for you tonight. I'll be back again Monday at 8:30 p.m. And I'll also be live on Thursdays at 8:30 p.m. with my colleagues, the Millionaire Ladies Mob, dropping some science on y'all, some financial science, that is. So get back in these internet streets and have fun outside. But don't forget to get that education online. It's your girl, Saran, and I'm out. Peace.